Good morning, Robin.
Good morning.
Uh, First question: uh, Is Christmas supposed to be celebrated on the 25th of December? We would like to know how they came about that date. Is it truly the birth of Christ according to history? Is it really the marking on a certain calendar date that by the 21st of 25th of Christmas of December is Christmas? And also, I would like to know the story behind Constantine. And I mean, I may be wrong. I don't know if he's the person, but we're told about a certain a prophet or ruler who, in one time, long before now, abolished a particular pagan feast that was celebrated on the 25th of December just for the Christians to take over because it was a big feast and that was the only way to capture the people into becoming Christians. So I don't know what you have to say about that.
I can say quite a lot, uh, but I'll try and condense it down. As the church developed from the very early days, you got this office, this pattern being developed where you have particular high days where you celebrate a certain event. So, in the Catholic and in the Anglican traditions, you've got throughout the year passages where the church focuses on certain things. It might be the period of Trinity, where we explore what Trinity means. It might be the period of Advent that we're in at the moment, where we think about what it really means that Jesus is coming. In the midst of all of that, the church is being enormously successful in its early years in taking over the pagan world. There's all sorts of ways in which the church sought to replace strong pagan festivals that were celebrated in particular ways. One of those is Christmas. Yuletide and the turning of the year was a very, very key time in pagan celebration in various places. And so what the church did, as very often happened, they would build churches and communities on the sites of pagan worship of the past. They would also want to replace the key aspects of a pagan festival. So you will hear some people these days talking about Yuletide. Yule is the remnants of the old pagan festival. So the Yule log that people talk about, that's a pagan symbol of the turning of the year. So all these things which are still part, I don't know in your part of the world, wherever you're living, there are similar things going on, but certainly in Western Europe, it was the Yule festival that was being replaced by the Christmas celebrations. We have absolutely no evidence in the scriptures for when in the year Jesus' birth happened. We don't have that, apart from the hints of when the census was. We know a little bit about that, but we don't have a particular day for it happening. We just don't have that information. So the church was free to decide which day they wanted to celebrate the birth of Jesus on. And they chose quite sensibly in many ways something that would then compete with and have similar importance to an already abiding pagan festival. And what happened over the years is Christmas became more and more important as more and more people became Christians. And Yule became something that was remembered just in some of the practices. But these days, as paganism is making a return and people's Christian commitment is a lot colder here in the West, you get a lot of pagan ideas coming back. And some of the drunkenness and overfeeding is part of the pagan festival. So in many ways, Christmas as an event was dying in a couple of times in the West. One time under Cromwell, when the king was overthrown, they didn't like Christmas because it had become too pagany for them. And so they stopped Christmas for a period. And then it was reinstituted when the second King Charles came to the throne. And again, in the Victorian era, the early part of the Victorian era, Christmas was a very unimportant festival, barely celebrated at all. And it was A Christmas Carol and Dickens's thinking about it, and the new things that Albert brought in as the consort of Queen Victoria that reinvigorated Christmas. Now, Christmas trees, we were talking about Christmas trees before recording this. That's something that Albert brought in from Germany. It wasn't part of English Christmas. It was something that he brought in that reinvigorated the celebration, made it more glittery. Yeah. I mean, Christmas can sometimes get hidden behind all that glitter, can't it? Behind the feast. The feast becomes more important than the person we're celebrating. The glitter hides the really uncomfortable and challenging reality that our God loved us so much that he was willing to give up all his rights and all his power and all his glory to be born a baby. I was preaching on this a couple of weeks ago. You missed it, Jude. But I was talking about how Jesus is... Well, we pacify Jesus. Jesus doesn't really appear in the Christmas story as we tell it in churches very much, except as this little passive baby sitting at the centre of the picture, but everyone else is busy around him. Actually, what's going on is much more powerful than that. This is God giving up everything for our sake, surrendering himself even to be born as a baby. He's our hero. He's our champion because he does the job that needs to be done, that he might save us. And that's who I worship on Christmas, the one who has come to rescue me. And in doing so has surrendered all power and all influence that he might save little old me, little old you. Isn't he amazing?
Yeah.